Okay, hello dear students. Good morning to all of you. Okay, we can start our today's history class. On the last class, we have just started first chapter from our history, the French Revolution, and we have understood about the spread of rumor in the city of the Paris, and people became alarmed. They were formed the people military or people militia, and these people, these thousands of the men and women, they were marched towards the eastern part of the Paris city, and they were destroyed or stormed the Bastille fortress prison. This jail or this prison was hated by the French people because this is considered as the despotic symbol of the the French Louis rulers. Okay, that means after forming this people militia, some of them they were marched towards on the eastern side of the city of the Paris. On the eastern side, there was a huge fortress prison. His name is Bastille prison, and the people they were started to attack, to destroy or to demolish this Bastille jail, and there was happened a fight between the people and the securities of the Bastille jail, and as a result, the commander of the Bastille prison was killed in this attack. The people took the arms and weapons, whatever they have got from the inside of the jail, they were picked it or they were looted the weapons, and also they were released the prisoners of the jail, even though their number was only 7. Anyway, that 7 prisoners have got the releasing or the emancipation by these rebels or the French people. So this is the situation. Then later the French people of the Paris, they were collected the different fragment materials of this Bastille jail, and they were sold. It was in the Paris market. For what purpose? If anyone is desirous to or wanted to souvenir or memorize such a jail or a prison is there, they can purchase or they can buy that one. For this purpose, they were collected the materials of the prison Bastille, and they were sold in the city market of the Paris. So this is one of the reasons for the just beginning of the French Revolution. Then historians are trying to analyze the situation of the France. What is the reason for the French Revolution? So there had many events of changes, the many events of the causes that was ultimately led to the French Revolution. There is not only one or two reasons. There are the many of the events are led to the outbreaking of the French Revolution in the society. Okay, you can see the next subtopic, French society during the late 18th century. French society during the late 18th century. That means here we are going to discuss about the social scenario, social conditions of the French society. Okay, after the after the rule of Louis XV, the next ruler of the Bourbon dynasty of the France was ascended by the Louis XVI. He became the monarch of the France was in the year 1774. Okay, at that time he was only the age of 20. He was just a young man, only the age of 20, and became the king or the monarch of the French Bourbon family of dynasty. And he was married the princess from the neighboring country of the Austria. Her name is Marie Antoinette. The wife of the Louis XVI is Marie Antoinette. She was the princess from the Austria. Then when this new king Louis XVI ascended the throne or came to power, he found that the French treasury was full of empty. The French treasury was full of empty. What are the reasons for the empty of their treasury? The one reason was the long years of the war drained the financial resources of the France. The one was the long years of the war of the previous rulers within different European countries. with the different European countries. The France made long years of the war. This is the one reason for the loss of their resources. And the second reason was the extravagant life of the royal family members, including the court officials and troops, soldiers, etc. The extravagant life of the Bourbon royal family. Okay, and along with this problem, the Louis XVI took the large amount of the money from the money lenders to help or to give the financial assistance to the 13 American colonies against the Britain, because at that time the Britain have occupied the number of the colonies in the world, and also Britain have the 13 colonies are there in America, in Northern America. So as a result of the enemies between the France and Britain, the French ruler Louis XVI gave the full assistance, full financial support to the 13 American colonies. For this purpose also, the Louis XVI took the more number of the cash as a loan from the money lenders. As a result, they again and again they became the large resource depletion, or they are becoming the 2 billion or more than 2 billion livres have the debt for the France. The livres is the currency of the France up to the 1794. Okay, it's the currency of the France which was continued up to 1794. After 1794, they were changing their currency. So the France became a debt country of the more than 2 billion livres. Okay, so in this situation, the king think about, or he was taught that how to meet the expenses, and how to pay the loan and interest of the loans. So he decided to increase the taxes of the people, Even though he was trying to increase the taxes, it was not sufficient to solve their financial problems. Anyway, the king was decided to increase the taxes. One of the problem in the France was the tax payment to the state, or the state tax was only to the people of the third stage, Okay, that means, in the French society during the 18th century was divided as 3 estates. You can see in that figure, in the flow chart or figure 2, the society of the France. There are 3 estates. The first estate is clergy, then second estate is nobility, and third estate is the, we can simply call them as common people. It was included the people such as big businessmen, merchants, court officials, lawyers, peasants, artisans, small peasants, landless, laborers, and servants. Such all people are included in the third estate. So these third estate people have only wanted to pay the tax. The first estate and second estate, or clergy and nobility, were exempted from the tax payment to the state. Okay, this is another discriminative nature of the French society. Okay, and the ruling government or the ruling dynasty of the France up to 1789 is known as old regime. From the medieval period itself, from the medieval period onwards, this Bourbon family of kings were started to rule in the France up to 1794, up to 1789. So this ruling period is called as old regimes. Okay. Then now we are moving to discuss what are the situations or the features of these 3 estates. Okay, you can clearly see that the first estate as their second estate and their third estate. Okay, and this social division was very organized. It is very planned and organized way of the division. In this system, the clergy is very top, and in between the estate, the nobilities was in between this place, and on the bottom level is third estate. The third estate also different people. They are also different category. Okay. We can see them they are also belongs to 3 category. Big businessmen, merchants, court officials, and lawyers were among the first level. Peasants and artisans were in the second level. Small peasants, landless, laborers, and servants are in the very bottom level of this state division. However, out of the total population of the France, 90% of the population belongs to the peasant community. Out of the total French population, 90% also belongs to the peasant community. They were farmers. But out of the total land holding of the France, 60% of the land was owned by the nobles, church and king. 90% of the total population was peasants, but the land holding or the land owned peasants were very only few. Most of the land was in the hands of the clergy, nobility and the kings. Okay, and few of the land was owned by the rich businessmen, merchants, rich peasants, etc. The most of the peasants are landless, laborers and servants. Only few peasants have their own small plot of the land. And another important thing is that the members of the first estate, they were exempted. The clergy and nobility, they were exempted or excluded from the tax payment to the state. This tax is called a tit. Tit is a tax. Sorry, this tax is called a tail. This tax is called a tail. Tail is a tax which was directly paid to state. There is no need to pay this tax by the nobility and clergy to the state. Only church people want to give the tax for the state. And also the clergy or the church have the capacity or the privilege or the right to collect tax from the peasants 1/10 of their agricultural production. This tax is known as tit. The tit is a name of a tax which was collected by the clergy. Okay, this is the tax was given by the peasants to the clergy or church as a proportion of their agricultural production is 1/10. Okay, then the nobles also have further feudal privileges because the most of the land was under the control of the nobles. They will use this land for the cultivation. Some were given this land for the other peasants for rent. Such peasants want to give the rent of this land as well as to offering the agricultural production of food grains, etc. to these nobles. Some other nobles will use this land for the free service from the landless laborers and servants. Yeah, so the servants and the landless laborers, they want to give the free and compulsory service to the nobles in their home, in their field. If in any case the nobles are needed to the military service, they can also use these servants and landless laborers for their military service. So in these social divisions of the France, the very pathetic condition was experienced by the landless laborers and the servants. Okay. So this was the social scenario of the French society, and you can see a picture there in the figure 3, the spider and the fly. The spider and the fly. This is an anonymous picture. Anonymous means we have no more idea about the painter, who is draw this paint or this figure. Yes. Such the odorless or we have no idea about the publisher of this painting, such or book or anything that we can simply call as the anonymous. Okay, here you can see the picture. The one man is sitting on the chair. The man is noble. Actually, he was very wealthy, with a well-dressed and cap, and also with the rich, just like a dictator or a courage. Okay, or ego mind. And one man is standing in front of him with some food grains and the money. Okay, so that man is farmer or a peasant. He was using the land of this noble for rent. In his land for rent. So this system is symbolizing about the feudal system of the France during this period. Okay, then you can see the next title. Next title is the title 1.1, the struggle to survive. The struggle to survive. That means the people of the France they were suffered to survive or to existence of their life. That means there was happened population increase in the life of the or in the France. That means by year 1750 there was only 23 million of population in France. But after some years, in the year 1789, it was rose into 28 million. There was an increase of this 5 million population in France. As a result of this increase of the population in France, there was happened a great food shortage. There was happened a great food shortage. That means the production of the food grains was not cope up with the demand of the people. Okay, the one side was the population increase, but there was no more production increase of the food items. As a result, it created acute food shortage. Along with this food shortage, what happened? There was happened a crop failure due to drought of the France in that time. Also lost the many crops. Then again, it culminated with the great food shortage. So there was no more capacity to the more number of the people, those who belongs to the peasant community and the labor community and the servant community, to meet their hunger because of the food shortage, because the price of the bread was increased, the food price was increased, there is no more chance to increase their wages. The laborers are doing the different work on the workshop and factories, but the factory owners and the workshop owners, they did not increase the wages of the laborers and workers. As a result, they were suffered a great shortage, or they were faced the deficit budget or deficit economy in income. There was happened a shortage in the income. Okay. As a result, there was the people started to the revolt and problems in the streets of the Paris. This process is, or this phenomenon is known as subsistence crisis. That means the food shortage of a place, of a region, and it created the great hunger and poverty to the region is called a subsistence crisis. Okay. So this was frequently occurred in the ruling period of the old regimes or the Louis of the France. Okay, now we can stop this class. Thank you for all. On the coming day we can discuss the next topic. Okay, thank you for all. Good morning.